welcome to another Floyd Fever, the best source for news and current events here at Floyd Central. I'm Rafe Swearingen.
And I'm Kylie Doherty. During the show, we'll be covering the latest and greatest at Floyd Central, from tips from students on how to get their license to what goes into making school lunches, and more.
That's right, but first we turn our attention to a topic many of us are familiar with, video games. Everyone likes to relax after school, but some choose to do that by playing video games. But when does this hobby turn into an addiction? Colin Wood takes a look.
There's a disease going around high schools across the state of Indiana. A disease where students have nothing other than this one thing because of their absurd addiction. That's right, this one thing is called video games. And it's turned many students into gaming addicts, or as some like to call them, gameaholics.
I believe that video game addiction does affect schoolwork in many ways by if a kid comes home and gets on video games and plays them for 4 hours and doesn't study or do their homework, you're definitely going to see a decline in grades.
Oh, hey there. I think video games really affect schoolwork from kids these days because they're just too addicted to it. You don't have time for all this schoolwork when you're playing Fortnite all the time, you know what I mean? So I really don't think that that's really a reliable option when you're trying to get work done in school.
Gameaholicism is a disease that's taken a toll on many students' lives and have caused them to fail school because they would rather play their games. According to Pew study, almost all students who play video, computer, or online games admit that it keeps them from studying some to a lot.
I do not think I have a video game addiction, but there are times I notice that I do play video games too often, and I try to fix that by doing chores around the house and making sure that I'm staying on top of my grades and I'm not having any missing assignments or anything like that. I believe video games are more of a problem now than 5 years ago because of the fact that the video game consoles are getting more complex and there's a lot bigger variety of games, and social media now is a big part of that too, I believe.
50% of students worldwide say they play video games on a regular basis, while 8.5% admit to being addicted. Studies suggest that these kids have an increased risk for developing attention problems at school.
So I'm not addicted to video games per se. I don't usually play them. I don't even have video games on my phone. I just noticed that when you play a video game, you kind of get in this zone where you get addicted and you don't want to walk away. That's a problem. I don't like that. I go by a philosophy where you don't want to cling to things. Otherwise, the day you lose it, it's the day you lose yourself.
Like everything else, it's good in moderation.
Yep, there's nothing wrong with relaxing and playing video games as long as they're not taking too much of your time.
Speaking of things that take up a lot of time, there are a lot of tough classes here at Floyd, and they can definitely be demanding. If you were to ask people in the school what the hardest classes are, you'd probably get a lot of different answers. When we asked students what they thought, many answered with AP Physics, which is taught by Mr. Bannon.
I don't think it's necessarily difficult. It's more the amount of time and effort they have to put into it. Students take multiple AP classes, so a lot of times they don't have the amount of time needed to be successful.
While AP Physics is certainly a difficult class, many others pointed us to Algebra 2, which is taught by Ms. Poindexter.
I think this class is chosen over the easier classes because a lot of students see that in their career path or in the college that they want to attend, they need to have things like pre-calculus and they need to have calculus. So they need the Algebra 2 honors class to get the foundation for those two classes. So they come in here with the understanding that this is to help them with their future, not only outside of school, but also for future schooling plans.
No matter what class you think is the hardest, there's one thing we can definitely say for sure. Floyd Central likes to challenge its students.
Yeah, I don't know what I'd do with all those classes. I'd probably have to see a therapist.
Yeah, I think got them in geometry too. Video games and classes aren't the only thing that take up a lot of time though.
That's right. As school year goes on, there's more students getting their license. SCTV's Connor Sturgeon inquires about that very thing. Here's what he found.
At the beginning of the school year, students are ecstatic to get their licenses, but getting them might be harder than you think. Usually, to get your license, you need to complete at least 50 hours of driving and have 10 of those hours driving at night. You also need to complete 30 hours of an online course or a driving class. Usually, to get your permit, you need to at least go to the BMV and complete a computerized test of the basic rules of driving. To get your license, you need to complete the online or in-school courses, then take a driver's test from an instructor. We'll talk to a teacher and some students about the hardest parts of getting your license.
For me, probably the hardest part of getting my license was driving at night and the first few times getting on the highway.
I think the hardest part about getting your license is probably the test itself. When you're having someone sit right next to you, it's really nerve-wracking, and because they're just sitting there and they're writing on their paper and they're judging every little thing you do, and then you constantly worrying oh my God, did I just fail? Did I not fail? Am I doing well? And it's pretty stressful. I mean, I was stressed out. I failed my test the first time because I whipped out in front of traffic. That was not a good idea. Almost got into a wreck. But once I redid it, I was I was prepared. I knew it was happening, and it wasn't as hard as the first time.
The hardest part about getting my license was the online driver's training. It was 30 hours and it took a really long time. And then the second hardest part was the 50 hours where you had to drive with an adult. That took a long time.
Getting your license can be tricky, so here's some advice for getting your license.
Some advice I would give is to not stress out too much. It may be scary and again, it may be stressful, but after the first few times, it gets pretty easy and it's just kind of relaxing then.
The advice I've given to someone that is trying to get their license is, get as much hours in as you can. Gotta get in that driving time. I think that's 50 hours. And if you can do more than that, do more than that, because you want to be as prepared as possible as you can for the actual test. And you don't want to make the mistakes that I made. And hopefully you can get it on your first try.
Don't procrastinate.
For everyone who's getting their license, good luck and be safe.
Getting your license may be hard, but you know what? I feel like it's worth it. You get a lot more freedom. You can do more of the stuff you want to.
Yeah. What about inside school, though?
You know what? Yeah, you're right. Until you're 16, though, it's kind of rough.
That is true. You get plenty of freedom and privacy outside of school, but we may not have much inside school.
It's a privilege and a right. But at school, just how much privacy are you allowed to have? Students at FC are given iPads to use for school purposes. It's important that students remember that these iPads are not their own. They belong to the school. And because of this, these iPads come with restrictions and monitoring. What students say and do on their iPads can get them into trouble, and in order to avoid getting hot water, students should know the boundaries the school has implemented.
So the process we use, Elizabeth, is a company we employ called Gaggle. And basically what Gaggle does, they have created an algorithm that will flag anything that's put in Google Suites that's considered to be controversial.
Whenever a student uses one of these words on a school iPad, a faculty member is immediately notified as to who has said what. Depending on the context of a word, students may or may not be punished. For example, if a word like kill is used for an English paper, there will not be any consequences. But if a student uses the same word to threaten violence against another student, the school will take action. But what about your personal devices? Does your school have access to them as well? We talked to Dr. Willman to see what he had to say.
If there's a school rule that is being violated, then yes. So that would be like cheating, or if there'd be something like a video that we have reason to believe is inappropriate, or something illegal or something in school rules, then yeah, we could do that.
So if we have what we consider to be reasonable suspicion, not probable cause, reasonable suspicion, we can look at anything you have on you when you're in school property at any time.
Whether it's a school iPad or a personal phone, privacy is something that is valued by everyone. While it may feel invasive to be monitored by the school, students need to remember that they agreed to these rules when they decided to enroll at FC. The school values privacy as much as the students, but when it is feared the safety of one or more students is in danger, the school will take action.
You better be careful while you're on your iPad. You don't want Dr. Vilker sneaking up on you when you're doing something you're not supposed to do.
He definitely loves sneaking up. The way I see it, they're doing it to keep us safe. I'm fine with it.
On a lighter note, it's September, which means we're only 2 months away from Dance Marathon. Even though Dance Marathon may seem like a long time away, it is quickly approaching. Dance Marathon, for those of you who don't know, is an annual event held every year by the school to raise money for Riley's Children's Hospital. There's dancing, good food, karaoke, and so much more. Teacher Matthew Townsend talks about the goal of Dance Marathon.
Society, we become too selfish, and I think Dance Marathon helps kids realize there are other people out there that need their help and that need them, and so I think that's one of the main goals is awareness of the hospital, as well as watching kids become leaders, watching kids kind of think less about themselves and more about the kids.
You ever wondered how much effort goes into making a school lunch? Because it's a lot more than you think. I had a chance to get an inside peek. Take a look. Floyd Central, home of the Highlanders, is a pretty big high school with about 1,750 students enrolled as of 2019. And with this many kids, a simple problem arises. How do we feed them all? Well, it's no joke that FC has their work cut out for them when they literally have to feed an army. But to really find out what goes into making lunch every day, I sought out a few of the people who make lunch possible, Miss Allison and Richardson to be exact. And I had a simple question in mind to start off with. What does it take to make lunch run smoothly? Here's what they had to say.
We have actually 20 spots that we can be filled in. That's if we have our tray room working, but 18 is to run the actual core inside the kitchen.
Well, we have 4 production people, where Mary does around the world, I do the grill, and then we have a marketplace person and a salad and fruit person. And then we have cashiers, servers, dish room, so about 18, I think, daily.
Awesome. And how long have you been working here?
Over a year.
Probably the favorite thing, when I get to run a register, because I don't get to do that very often, so being able to do that, I get to talk to kids and just kind of see how their day's going and just get to know them better.
I like the preparation. I don't mind coming in early, and time goes really quickly. Because once lunchtime's finished, then I know I've only got like an hour and a quarter left, so it goes really quickly. The grill line through the 3 lines does about 550, something like that.
As you can see, a ton of effort goes into lunch preparation each day, along with a large amount of time and work being invested into serving about 1,800 kids 5 times a week. As they said, not only does it take quite a few people to run the show, it also takes hefty appliances that meet the needs of cooking, freezing, and storing all the food that's coming in and out of the kitchen.
The main oven I use, because it has a lot of different ways to cook. Like the chicken wings that we do on a Monday, we've discovered that we put them on the grill setting. They become nice and brown and crispy, and they cook a lot quicker than just doing the regular bake.
In the freezer, because it's always like -10 and it's way cold. So all our pizzas are in there, any kind of like our Asian sauces, chicken sandwiches, hamburgers, almost everything comes in frozen except for our fresh fruits and vegetables, juices, water, stuff like that comes in the fridge. It's a very large room.
Our daily routine is we do a day in advance. So my first job is to fill all the wells up with water, bring out the rolls so they can get to room temperature, and then I go into the freezer and pull the stock for the next day, which is either hot and spicy chicken or prime time pizza, Bosco sticks, whatever there is, and I fill up all the carts with that, and then I get ready for the day's stuff.
I'm the kitchen manager, so I'm in charge of in charge of the staff that are here, but also to make sure that every child is getting a proper meal, being charged correctly, not having any kind of scuffle in the line. So a lot of different hats I wear.
So not only is there a lot of work and machinery that goes into serving and preparing the food, but there's also a lot of, well, food. But how much are we talking though?
Well, we know that about 550 kids are getting meals each day, so how much food is actually getting ordered to meet this high demand?
Sure. So I get a delivery every Monday from GFS. That truck is about $8,000 to $10,000 a week of food and drinks that we order, and that's just that part of it. We also get money from the government for spending to use for fruits and vegetables, like our fresh fruits and vegetables that we get weekly. So ordering takes about a day to get ordered, and then starts all over next week and get to do it all over. And we have milk orders and bread orders, so a lot of different things that go into just feeding kids every day.
Lunch is a holy grail in students' everyday school affairs. It's a place to relax, eat, and talk with some of your closest friends. These lunch servers have done an incredible job so far this year and will continuously get better and better as the year progresses. Their time and effort is definitely appreciated by all 1,746 students here enrolled at FC. But as always, remember, Highlanders, stay hungry.
Is it almost time for lunch?
I don't know, man. I'm really looking forward to it. Those lunch ladies sure do work hard, but they aren't the only ones who take care of the school. There's also a small group of students that defend the school against one of the biggest problems they probably ever. Mark Lowry takes a look.
Vaping, bullying, annoying kids. All of these are massive problems in schools, but all of them pale in comparison to the biggest problem of all, public displays of affection. Public displays of affection, or as they're known on the street, PDA, has been persisting in schools for as long as anyone can remember, but there is one group dedicated to stopping PDA.
My name is Mark Lowney. I'm with the PDA-PD, also known as the Public Displays of Affection Police Department.
Hi, my name's Dalton Vanover, but people call me No Fun, but that's just a nickname.
The PDA-PD is dedicated to making sure no PDA happens on Floyd Central property. They're a dedicated group who will stop at virtually nothing in order to prevent these horrid actions.
You know, sometimes students like to commit PDA in the bathroom, so I have to check them.
Hey! No PDA in here, is there? No PDA in there, is there? Okay, I didn't think so.
They're good.
Hey!
Okay, we're good.
When I see people PDAing, it just makes me want to...
My psychologist says that because I can't get a girlfriend of my own, I take out those frustrations on other people. I'm very sad.
But what exactly classifies as PDA?
Alright, so we use what is called the Beck scale. Alright, level 1, holding hands. Level 2, hugging/cuddling. Level 3, a simple kiss. Level 4, a moderate kiss. And level 5, a passionate kiss. Now there's 2 more levels after that, but we can't get into that right here, right now.
So, what do students think of the PDA-PD?
Who? Those guys are freaks. One time I gave my friend a high five, and they gave me detention because they thought I was trying to hold his hand.
See, lots of support for the defenders of this school. But if that's not interesting to you, there's also undercover agents.
You know, some of our forces go undercover, dress up like normal people, and try to get people to hold their hands and catch them, per se, red-handed.
Would anyone like to hold my hand? Hey, want to hold my hand? Hey, do you want to hold my hand? Do you want to hold my hand? Okay, he's good.
So if you want to join the PDA-PD, see Mark Lowney or Dalton Vanover for details.
It's kind of just the two of us right now. People don't really like us.
Thank goodness Mark and Dalton are out there keeping the school safe.
Oh yeah, I'm glad I don't have to see that stuff in our hallways.
Those undercover sting operations look like they're working like a charm.
Oh yeah. Well, as we wrap up another episode, I'd like to thank you for joining us today.
We hope we could fill you in on some of the top stories happening around the school and maybe give you something to think about.
I'm Kylie Doherty.
I'm Ray Swearingen.
And this has been Floyd Fever.